Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Formula 1 news, as the question remains as to who, if anyone, will be replacing Nikita Mazepin in the Haas for 2022. Toto Wolff is back in business, hopping back on the Wolff Masi hate train bandwagon ahead of this new season. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you were new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks also for 200 subs. Lots of great progress the first couple of days of the channel. Just love to see it. Let's dive into the Mazepin stuff then, because this came out from Sky Sports yesterday. A lot of talk really about it. Well, some official reporting actually coming through. Yeah, Mazepin seemingly is going to be out of Haas for the upcoming season. So Sky Sports Germany initially reporting this. Now, well, Haas have not, confirmed this by any means. Of course, you wouldn't expect them to confirm it, but they have at least made a statement. Like sometimes these organizations just won't comment or anything. They have said that these reports are actually inaccurate. So of course, they're only inaccurate for now until it's true, but maybe it's not going to be true at all. Who knows? But if Sky Sports Germany are reporting on this, you'd imagine that Mazepin probably is going to be out of this team, especially because Pietro Fittipaldi was spotted driving for them just a couple of days ago now. And, we'd imagine that's what's going to happen. Now, whether Fittipaldi is going to be the permanent replacement here for Mazepin for 2022, that certainly does remain to be seen. There's been a lot of talk about other drivers potentially coming in. We'll look at Piastri here in a second, even though it seems like that's not going to be the case from F2, of course, the champion from last season. But also there was even some talk about Giovinazzi. I saw people talking about that. I have no idea. I imagine that's just a complete rumour and potentially baseless speculation. But some were saying Giovinazzi is back in business. Now, whether that's the case, I'm not really sure. But some have certainly said, Fittipaldi, is he really the right guy? Like, some have said certainly not. Now, this is also as Tomo's spots right here, like, from the Haas F1 team, they, we're trying to figure out who was in this car. And he's like, okay, wow, is that Pietro's helmet? And people were pointing out that actually it's number 51 on the car, which is his number. So very clearly, at least in this image, it's Pietro in the car, Fittipaldi, as opposed to Mazepin, which you might expect at the present time. But still, who'll replace him? That is a question that still remains. People, of course, did talk about Piastri, as Matt Koch shares right here, chatting with Oscar Piastri's management. They are emphatic Oscar will not drive for Haas. Not that he is or was a realistic consideration, worth getting word from the horse's mouth, right? So that's not going to be the case. Not like people really thought that was going to be the case anyway, to be honest. But, well, still a lot going on that front. This also has been mentioned, right, and the BBC talked about this as well, that the FIA basically has a statement in place that if you support the invasion in any way, then you're not going to be allowed to drive for us. Of course, this gets a little bit complicated for Mazepin, right, if he was to still be a part of Haas, because his father, like this chemical company, pretty close, of course, to the president of Russia. You would imagine that things might get pretty complicated if Mazepin has to sign a statement saying, yes, I don't support this invasion, or whatever the case might be, which seems to be what he would actually have to do, because the BBC are reporting that Mazepin would be required to sign a document forbidding him from supporting the Russian invasion of Ukraine if he remains in Formula 1. So, of course, that there's other things that you have to do if you are going to be a Formula 1 driver for this upcoming season, and of course, yes, he's expected to lose the seat anyway, but even if he kept it, he wouldn't be able to compete at Silverstone, right? We looked at that a couple of days ago, but also it's very possible that he'd have to sign this thing, which, seems rather unlikely. So, in all things considered, from the Haas side of things, it's pretty tough for them with the sponsorships they have, and of course, the involvement with Dmitry Mazepin himself, and, all the issues that this is going to cause, and of course, is already causing. Maybe it makes sense for this team to try and distance themselves, and maybe just sell to Andretti, right? I'm pretty sure Andretti have tried to buy Haas. I'm pretty sure, like, even a few days ago, Andretti was saying they've tried to buy Haas like 5 or 6 times or something, and that it hasn't worked out as of yet. Maybe down the line this could be the case, especially if, they're lacking financial support, as it seems that they may well be going forwards. Let's discuss the whole Toto Wolff thing, because I honestly thought, well, at least I'm pretty sure they said at some point, the Toto and Horner, they were going to kind of, okay, they shook hands, like, let's leave the 2021 season behind us, and maybe that is what Toto and the guys have done from now on. But, anyway, Sky Sports are kind of doing their own documentary thing, reviewing all the drama, especially towards the end of last year, and this kind of some, apparently new emerging details that these guys have said behind the scenes that has not yet reached the public eye. So, this is what Sky Sports have to say. He's turned Michael Masi, the race director, not only in Abu Dhabi, but before, and probably Max owes him a lot. So he's talking here about Jonathan Wheatley, and these are the words seemingly of Toto Wolff. So this is the entire article. I'll have a look through some of the things further down here in a second, but this is kind of one of the key points. The Masi, who's since been dropped by the FAA, made a deal with Red Bull sporting director Jonathan Wheatley over restart grid positions. You remember that clip that came out where Wheatley was on the radio. Of course, I think it was allowed at the time that the teams can be on the radio. Of course, they're going to put their point across, and that Masi obviously took one decision over the other. Wolff apparently goes on to describe Masi and Wheatley's relationship as a bromance, and says Jonathan Wheatley has done his job. He's turned Michael Masi, the race director, to his opinion, I suppose, like the bromance comment, I thought it was kind of funny. Not only in Abu Dhabi, but before, and Max probably owes him a lot. We certainly saw, I think, in the final few races of the season, Max maybe got away with more than some people said he should have done. It is, of course, swings and roundabouts, right? Because you guys remember the first lap of Abu Dhabi when Hamilton overtook at the start, then Max kind of was coming up the inside and on the back straight, and overtook him. Hamilton went off the track. Did he gain a lasting advantage? Masi at that time said, okay, let's just play on. and leave it how it is. So of course it's always a back and forth here. There wasn't further discussion from Toto. He says, I haven't spoken to him, that being Masi, don't want to speak to him ever again. So yeah, just some new statements here, like Wolff admits the Australian was a victim. His decisions were wrong, I'm sure he regrets them. The FIA should have seen much earlier that there was a problem. There was a problem with the structure, there was a problem of personalities. And one of the final comments I thought was quite interesting here was that, as Toto says, concludes about Verstappen's triumph, I feel for Max. He merits the World Championship, but there's only talk about Abu Dhabi. That's the thing, like there's kind of this cloud hanging over Max's head, right, given that the whole the way that it went down last season. So still a lot to prove, I think, for Verstappen in a way going into this season, despite what happened at the end of last. And it's a shame for Max, really, that he doesn't get to kind of carry this championship away without that asterisk that is certainly there, especially when, Masi gets kicked, right, admitting that the FIA admitting to some degree they did something wrong in this instance. So what do you guys think about Toto's comments, right? Because at the end of the day, like I thought we heard not too long ago that, Toto and Horner were going to kind of shut up about this and move on. Like the past is the past. Masi's been dealt with, or whatever the case might be. We have a new race directorship coming in, new rules coming into play that the likes of Jonathan Wheatley can't just talk straight to Masi, right, to this bromance that apparently might be a thing according to Toto is not going to be as much of an issue anymore as we progress. But both of these teams still stirring up drama before the season. I mean, look, there's no surprise at this point. That's just what these teams like to do. Before we close things out, I wanted to talk about this, that it was discussed really with upgrades that are going to come to Bahrain. Because of course we saw the cars in action at Barcelona, but in fairness, a lot of those cars could change quite significantly before we get to Bahrain. Apparently some teams are, preparing for some serious upgrades to bring to their cars. Now, there's been a lot of back and forth on this, right? Because a lot of, for example, Mercedes, Red Bull, they've all been talking about the fact that, okay, Ferrari, they've got the fastest car, they've got the best engine, all this type of positive stuff. Every team is trying to talk up the other team and play themselves down. It's the standard games you see at about this point, especially with new regulations as big as they are. Even Ferrari are now saying that they expect Mercedes to bring a big upgrade to the second F1 test. So they're now playing themselves down, right, and saying, okay, Mercedes are going to bring the big upgrades, all this type of stuff. So yeah, Mattia Binotto reckons that Mercedes are bringing this big upgrades, makes it very difficult to judge performance after Barcelona. But what has been said actually on this front is that potentially these upgrades might take things one step too far. Like there was a talk in this article from Auto. I'll leave all this stuff linked down below if you guys would like to check it out. But if we move all through this stuff, we then get down to this point, what technology is still to come in Bahrain. Despite the budget cap, many teams want to show up in Bahrain with an upgrade. Mercedes and Red Bull even with a significant step. Ferrari states they are satisfied with the optimization work they're going to do on the F175. Must be assumed all teams will show modifications to the underbody to solve the porpoising problem that of course we did see in Barcelona. But one engineer these guys spoke to said the following: we won't see the delicate things that could lie in a grey area until we get to Bahrain, predicts an engineer. We learned from FIA circles that a team's cuddle course could already be over in Bahrain. Apparently you can already see from the CAD data from the legality check of the upgrades that some are sailing close to the winds and bring solutions that do not quite correspond to the spirit of the regulations. So seemingly some of these upgrades that may be arriving here for Bahrain that we shall see, they may not be in the spirit of the regulations, which might well mean, because I'm pretty sure Ross Brawn and the guys did say that if what the teams decide to do is too close to the line on what it is within the spirit of the regulations, as they say, what was intended to be the case with these regulations coming in, they won't kind of hesitate to, bring a hammer down, right, on what they think is, bending the rules to such a degree that it's going to give a team a significant advantage and goes away from the intention of bringing these rules in the first place. So, we'll have to see how this one develops. But yeah, Mercedes and Red Bull, I imagine they're going to try and upgrade their car. Ferrari might just be sitting back and relaxing, hoping that whatever Mercedes and Red Bull do decide to bring out here in Bahrain, and they reckon Mercedes is going to bring a big upgrade as we just looked at, might get ruled by the FIA to not be in the spirit of the regulations. We shall of course see on that front, and it's only 2 weeks until the Bahrain Grand Prix does indeed kick off, where we're going to get a true idea of the performance of some of these cars, especially when we get to qualifying. But very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.